This is Ray's OU or over unity experiment. You can do number 2. I have a setup here and I'll show a diagram later, but this is my magnetic car. I have a north facing in and I have a bar, and this is at 45-degree angle, and this is my north and my south, and this is a 1/2 inch by 2 inch neomagnet, but it's set at a 45-degree bar, and we'll go into that later. This side is inactive, and we'll go into the reason later, and this side is active. Let's see what happens when we move our magnetic car. It's just a small car, and I have clay here that just holds it on there, and I can get even like a 1/4 inch, even an 1/8 of an inch. And on the inactive side, there's little or no reaction. So the force coming in is very, very small. So we get up to the gate, the magnetic gate, and on this side is active, so we get into the active part of the system, and away it goes. So we have a force being developed from the field shaping that I've come up with in here. This is the magnetic field shaping that I've been working with. It does not change or nullify any of the magnetic laws of physics. It takes advantage of the redirecting of the magnetic fields using certain angles and iron materials to do such. In this case, allowing the magnetic car to enter the magnetic gate with less power and exiting the gate with greater power. More power out than power in. That is my definition of over unity event. Okay, we'll show this action again. So as we come backwards, of course, you can see that interaction, and briefly, the active part is being caused by a solenoid effect. When you have a north and a south and you place another magnetic field within that, there is a direction of force like a solenoid, and the 45-degree angle, I'll go into that later, helps that take place. So as we come into the gate, it is very, very little. I can get even a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, and we have no activity. This is inactive. So very, very little. This is my input, and when we come to the gate, we have a greater output. So we'll go ahead and go into the principles. The first principle I'd like to cover is neutralization. This is part of the field shaping techniques that I've developed. I have the setup. This is the entrance of the device that we were working with, and this is a pack of 5 magnets, and this is 5 magnets. This is just for illustration purposes. And this is the north facing, and this is a south facing. Whenever we have a south and a north interacting with each other, there is a canceling out where this is under the field shaping, and this is a small dry nail for walls, and you can see that it is neutral. Now if it gets close to it, then it pulls in very strongly. Now the poles of a magnet are the strongest, and yet this side is neutralized. This is called neutralization. This is a good experiment you can do, and it comes very valuable. You can see the interaction between the iron nail and the magnets, very, very strong. And yet the forces are neutralized, making a neutral area facing this way. This is what I have on my over Unity device. I have more magnets here than I do have on the example. So, but yet still, it has that neutralization. Even down here it's pretty good. A little bit at the end there. But it is quite amazing that there's such a force there. I forget what the pull-off force of a 1/2 inch by 2 inch. It may be 50, 60, 70 pounds or more. And yet, through neutralization, okay, we'll come back and we'll explain another principle. This is another principle of the field shaping with angles. I briefly mentioned that the 45-degree angle. Magnetically, the 45-degree angle changes and helps change the magnetic gate from being a closed gate to an open gate. And briefly, instead of being against the magnetic forces, we're more of an angle, and it allows you to slip through the gate entrance. Okay. Now we're going to take up this active portion of the OU device. Overall performance, we've gone through the inactive side through neutralization, and the active side is through the solenoid effect. And as I explained earlier, we have a north and a south, and what I did here, I explained that. But this is an extension so that it draws those forces away from this area down here and does not tend to interact as much with the magnetic car field. So if I would have stopped here, then this car would only go so far and it'd pull back. So that's what this extension is. But it's part of the solenoid effect. When you have the north and the south, you put another magnetic field within that field, you have that magnetic or solenoid effect. Get her too close, it'll catch. Okay. So there's the solenoid effect. This is the dimensions diagram of the over-unity effect, showing the inactive side and the active side. We'll go ahead and do a demo one more time and we'll finish up. This series that I'm doing, I've been at this a long time, 20 years plus. So I have made some pretty interesting things. I've not seen anything like this other people are at least showing. Maybe they've come up with that myself. I don't come up with this myself, and they may have too. I've never seen anybody do anything like this, showing more power out than power in. That's my definition of over-unity effect. So coming into the gate, we have little force, more force out. Let's say it was money-wise. So you put a penny in, you're getting 5 or 10 pennies out, as an illustration. So we're coming in with very, very low power, or pennies worth, right up to the gate, and then we get our 5 pennies out. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you watching and look forward to seeing your comments. If you want to help support this work, see my Buy Me a Coffee. But more than that, you enjoy your day inventing.